Alright, so this is Sailing Anarchy at the Volvo Ocean Race, Boston Import Stop. We are live this morning in the Puma base with Kimo Worthington. And Kimo, you were on the boat for the import races this week, right?
Yeah, I've been put in for, did the import in Rio, and I just did the import again here in Boston, and then we just did the Pro-Am yesterday.
Right, so can you take us through Saturday and talk about the highlights and the lowlights for
Well, the
Team Puma?
highlight was how many boats and people came out. We had no idea that we'd ever have this many boats or this many fans here in the U.S. U.S. is not really a fan base area for sailing, and now it was incredible. There's people flew in from California, Washington, all over the country just to see the race in the stop boat. So it was amazing, and they had 35,000 people come through on Saturday, and I think another 30,000 yesterday. So it was really fun to be out there and sail it. Now, we didn't sail very well, actually. We just kind of sucked for the day, but we sucked on the water, but Puma did fantastic. It was actually record sales here for the store, which is, really why, a lot of reasons Puma's into this thing, is to make this thing work with their brand. So it was a great day that way.
Well, back to the water. Can you tell us a little bit about what happened out there?
On the water, well, each boat has its sweet spot. And our sweet spot is just about over 10 knots with the other boats, and that's when we kind of come alive a little bit more. We struggled a little bit in the light stuff. We missed the right shift. There was a nice right shift on the first beat that we missed. And the other guys had it. We thought we had a good, nice little, we thought we were going to be top three. And it all went right at the top, and those guys got across. Telephonic goes really well, and they sail really well. And they won the first race, and then the next race, we just pulled the trigger too early. And Kenny didn't think that Erickson 4 and Telephonic were going to lay lured into the line, and we kind of got up a little, got too advanced, and we're over early, and just had to struggle. It's a short race, and we just couldn't get back into good position.
Do you think 1.25 mile legs are too short for a race that has so much scoring potential, especially considering you guys in Team Blue?
Because no one's going to watch. If it gets too long, then it gets too boring. It was short, quick, boom. That's what it is. That's how it is. It's the same for everybody. So, that's how it. In some ways, it should almost be shorter. You can make an argument maybe shorter and more races. But also it was we were at 1 point out of third. There was 3 boats all tied up. It was pretty close.
So talk about short and exciting. Fast forward to Sunday in the Pro-Am race. You were also on board there, and you had our Sailing Anarchy contest winner on board with you. Explain what it was like to be blasting around the harbor at 22 knots.
It was awesome. We've been working on this, actually, trying to get people to get out of this windward leeward, because that's not what the boats are, that's not the boat's best angle. And this reaching, we were doing 25 knots in the harbor with a number 4 and a reef main. Without any problem with just, everybody drove our boat. Some of the other boats don't do that. Some of the other boats had their skipper drive the whole day, but us, we had everybody drive, and everybody has a ball. They get out there, and there's nothing better. I mean, how often do you get to go drive a boat, go 25 knots on a nice sunny day? So it was fun. We had a great time. I think we're going to work on the format a little bit more and have a few more races and work on that a little more, but you'll see more of this reaching around inside the harbor on Pro-Am Day.
So how'd you keep the Anarchist from breaking the boat when you handed the wheel to him on
he was good. He was all right. That guy, he was into it. He showed up at our short team meeting. He was all over the place. He was grinding all day, driving. And I think he even he raced one of the races. He drove the whole race.
Yeah, I think he drove the third race, right?
Yeah, he drove the third race. We won, and he did a nice job. Actually, Telephonic was ahead of us, and we passed him. So I think he had a ball. He done.
With some great racing, and you said it's been record sales for Puma, and you guys have done what nobody else in sailing has really been able to do, and bring in a major retail brand to a major race and make it a success. How have you been able to maintain this relationship with Puma, and where do you see it going in the future?
Well, this is the guy, Antonio Bertone. This is kind of his vision, and he's the one that designed Puma City and came up with this whole thing. And we worked on the performance line, the sailing team, and they turn it into a lifestyle. That's what Puma does. Like with Ferrari, they do all the shoes for Ferrari, and then they turn it into a lifestyle, and that's what they're kind of doing here with sailing. And it's kind of trendy, it's new, it's fun, and like Puma City is a fun place to go. Everyone in Boston seems to be going to Puma City at night and sitting out on the bar. And I think Puma's enjoyed it. They like the sailing. They like the people in involved. They like the story, and if we make some changes, we hope they're going to do the next race. They're still looking at it. They got to review it and look at it. The Financial Times is not easy, but it's looking good right now.
But right now, the return on investment seems to be there.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, for sure. I mean, they've made so much strides into the sailing, and there's just so many people. You just see these people walking out with bags and having fun with the whole thing.
So now, assuming Puma comes back and you guys do the race again, what do you want to see changed? What needs to be improved?
Well, what's been going on is with the next race is Canute's worked very hard, and it started in Spain. We actually had our first meeting in Cape Town, and Canute's trying to get the budgets down so everyone could walk into a sponsor and say, look, we could have a great program, we can win the race, and we're going to spend X. And he's working on that number. Well, right now our budgets are like this. There's some teams that have spent a gazillion dollars, and other teams that spend very little. If you don't spend enough, you're not really competitive. And it's showing on the race course. So we're trying to level it out. We're trying to make it, we're doing a lot of cost-cutting measures, just like Formula One is and any other sport. And we're trying to figure out different options. They've already limited the sales. They've taken one of the crew members off, one more. But these decisions are being made, like the sail reduction was made by the sailors. It wasn't made by Volvo. Here is what you're going to do. The sailors actually came up with the reductions because they want the boats to be fun and easier to sail. So people are starting to buy into it. It's been a little bit of a hard process to get people kind of going. And we've sat down, like in my role, I've sat down with other teams and we've been working on the budget together. What is a realistic budget for the next race? And we sit down and here's what we spent for this is what we spent for that. And I don't think that's happened in previous races.
Now, you said before there's certain teams that spend a lot of money and other teams that are not. There's been sort of allegations running around that teams like Ericsson in this edition and ABN AMRO, because they have so much money to throw around, can kind of control a little bit more of the race than the smaller budget teams. Is that something that's looking to be addressed the next time out?
I mean, I don't know about that. I don't know how about controlling the race. I mean, it's still raced on the water. You still got to get from point A to point B, and it's a race. And in any sport, if you put more time in, you make good decisions with the money that you have, you're going to be, you've got a better chance of winning. And it's always proved, that's always been history. Ericsson's done a great job with what they've had. They've had more time, and they've had more money, and they've made some really nice, some great decisions. They've been very professional, and it's showing on the water. They had a lot of time testing. While the rest of us were just trying to get up and organize and get sorted, they were already testing and working on things.
Do you think having Puma Avanti was an asset to you guys, or was the boat too outdated when you got it to really do the two-boat testing you needed to do?
It was probably a little too outdated for us. I mean, but it was a help. That was our best option at the time. We didn't have the money to go, modify the boat or do a bunch of other things. You can always do things a little bit better, but ultimately we had time against us. We were always, fighting against time.
So having it to do over again, what do you think you do differently?
In my opinion, if I do it over, well, there's always things, for sure you would like to have better testing against another boat. What would have been great is we could have teamed up with another team and done two exact same boats. That would have been a great way to go. But that never worked out. We worked on that. We worked on trying to make that happen, but it never fell into place.
Now, the races, there's still a lot of points on the table, but there's not a whole lot of distance left. What does Puma need to do to capture that second place, and is it possible to beat Ericsson 4 in the end and get up to the top of the podium?
Well, Ericsson's got a pretty good, they got a nice lead right now, but anything can happen. I mean, there's these short legs. Also, you can get caught in a hole. You can get, some things can happen, and boom, you get ended with a 7th place without a problem at all. So there's a lot of points that can be had here in a short distance. That means a lot of things can get turned around pretty quickly. I mean, Ericsson 3 is not that far back either. So this whole thing is wide open in a lot of ways. I mean, for sure, Ericsson 4 has a nice jump, but there's a lot of points, and a lot of, there's a couple of inshore races, and it's going to be kind of tricky. Going, you go here to Galway to Marstrand to Stockholm, then to Stockholm to Russia. So there's a lot of things can happen, and I bet it comes right down to the last leg.